So today we're going to talk about the article from Monday, which was about AI and the jobs that it won't take just yet. And also we had the second article, right, about, I didn't save it for myself. The second article was about kind of the anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yes. Yeah, the anxiety that people feel about AI in relation to their jobs. So to start with, what do you both remember from these two articles? What are some of the ideas that stood out for you in these articles? Who wants to go first? Nadia, go ahead.
Yes, so as you say, the article that we read was talking about the AI and the anxiety that the AI cause for a lot of workers, because as per one of the research report says that about 300 million jobs could be directly replaced by AI, which made every worker worried about their career and their jobs. But in the article, they mentioned that there are some kind of jobs that won't be replaced easily because of their nature, and they may be listed in under 3 categories. They spoke about the creativity jobs that they need you to be creative, like I don't remember the jobs that they give, for example, for the creativity. They say about the design and the graphic design, but they said also some part of this could be replaced, but not all of it. The second category was about the interpersonal relationships that needs the trust of the clients. You need like a human to talk with. For example, like the lawyers, doctors, maybe, and who else? Okay, maybe I will be enough with this too. And the third category was about the jobs that need dexterity and mobility, like the plumbers, electrician, mechanicians. So these jobs can't be replaced easily because I don't know if it depends maybe on problem solving, which is not something that you can be replaced easily. So beside all of these, the article mentioned a good point. I mean, the silver lining in this topic, that we can look to the positive side of this AI revolution, that maybe it will give us more time to focus on other things that the automation or the robots can do. I mean, only human can do, like developing new strategy or inventing. So maybe we'll have more time to do things that before we didn't get enough time to think of it or to dedicate our time to it. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. Konstantin, what can you add?
Excuse me, to be honest, I almost have nothing to add. Maybe just a few. So it's relate. Despite of we told AI won't take some jobs of us, but the fact the AI is replace some job places, and it's also about the report of European Union and United States, and it's about 300 million jobs that people afraid to lost, and maybe it's prediction of this organization. So it's about 300 million that lost their jobs. So we have to prepare, and maybe some of us will be among these 300 millions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so maybe starting off with something very general. How do you both feel generally about AI? Do you feel pretty positive about maybe what AI can do for us in general? Or is it something that you're a bit worried about? You're kind of concerned about what AI is going to do? Not necessarily just about jobs, but I guess in general, like, do you see AI or hear AI and kind of go, uh-oh? Or do you think, yeah, great? Konstantin?
For me personally, it is maybe comparable to some invention of some new technologies, or I would like to compare it with our previous topic about plastic invention. So this new material, and it makes some kind of revolution in the technical world, and it's give us new opportunities, but also it have some it also threaten our planet, and have some maybe another side of coin. So it's also maybe I have to relate to AI. It is also like the special amazing instrument, but it have some another side of the moon, of another side of using, and some traits that it contains. So it depends how we responsibly use, we will use it, and it's new opportunities, but also new threats for the humankind. Thank you.
Okay, so it's one of these things that, like many things, I guess, it's going to depend on how we use it, what we actually do.
Exactly, yes. It's like internet, we have, so we have to opportunity to communicate with each other, but also we have some thieves in internet, and phishing mail, or maybe stolen data or something like that. So it have also pluses and minuses. So it depends how we use it, and it's only the matter. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, Nadia, what do you think? How do you feel about it?
I feel positive about it. Okay, there is of course, the negative side. Maybe it will be difficult I mean, for the authenticity of things, like maybe videos and pictures, it will be always difficult maybe to prove something, because maybe before, when you see a picture or a video, you say, oh, this is happening. But now, even if you saw something like that, you would think this is maybe this is human, made. It's not a real video, or it's not a real picture. So I think it will be difficult to prove anything. Everything will be doubtful, and maybe in this year especially, the coming years. Also, I think regarding the loss of jobs, I believe that wherever something new, it will bring with it a new type of jobs. So I'm not worried about the jobs that we have, because I think the positive side that we will reduce a big amount of mistakes, and we will save a lot of time by the AI, which is really good. For a human. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Well, let's talk more about this aspect, I guess, like the job aspect of it. How realistic, I guess, do you think these kinds of estimates or these things are. Like, do you think that a lot of the jobs that we do now will end up being done by AI? Or do you think it's probably more likely that we will keep doing the same jobs that we're doing at the moment, that it's going to take, maybe a really long time for AI to actually start replacing any jobs? That question was a little bit confusing, wasn't it? Let me try again. Maybe I need to simplify it. I think I asked kind of 2 or 3 things. Nadia, let's see.
I get your question. You ask if you think it's happening soon or it will take time, right? I mean,
yes, that's it.
it's new. Yeah. I think we're still maybe in the first stages of this era, but once we start with it, I think we will notice the difference. I mean, once it's happening, really, we will notice a big difference. But now I think it depends on, of course, on the continent where you are. I mean, for example, for Europe, it will be, in USA, it will be, of course, faster, but not in Africa or Asia. I mean, as I said, I don't think it's happening now. I mean, these 2 years, but maybe in 10 years.
Okay, so that's your prediction then, 10
Yes,
years maybe.
yes. We'll see.
Okay, we have to come back in 10 years and check. And who knows whether Discord will even be happening still in 10 years, but it's an interesting prediction.
Yeah, sorry, Natasha, I remembered something. That day I went for lunch at a restaurant, and for us in my country, it's the first time happening, at least for me. A robot brought our meal, so it was really funny. So you see, it start to be. I mean, things start to be changed.
Yeah, that's a big change, I would say. I've never been bought a meal by a robot, so I'm not even sure where I would need to go to have a robot bring my meal to me.
It was funny because we saw our meal in the picture. That's why we recognize it, because we didn't know a robot will brought it for us, So when we saw it, it's our meal. So there is a button you have to press finish so he can leave. So my friend was going to press finish. I told her, don't press finish. It will go with your meal. You have to take your meal first and then put finish.
Yeah, see, this is the funny thing. Even when AI maybe does start to replace some of these jobs, it might take us a little bit of while to get used to it, and we might have a few little issues with it before we figure out how to actually interact with it and how to use it properly. It might not be so obvious sometimes. So what do you think, Constantine? How long do you think it's going to take before AI... I mean, I guess this could be an example of AI taking over jobs, right? But how long do you think it might be before this is really common?
Maybe it will be much sooner that we expect. Our expectation and our imagination about how develop this industry, it is maybe not adequate for now, because I know a lot of people who is in IT field, and they are engineers, and most of people now in our country, in Ukraine, that have employment in this industry, they maybe it's about 17% of them, they work under the project related to AI. So it's develop with very big speed, and I forget this word, but if you know, it's about the car that then the car start moving faster and faster, and they make this rush to move faster, and so we only in the start of this technology. And about the now we have digits about 300 millions. So it's about nowadays situation. So it's we have to say about the moment, and maybe it is also about the past time, because researching requires some time to analyze and to collect the data, and maybe this digit already is much more. And so if we have all employment population on the earth, so I am not sure. For example, we have around 9 billion people. It's population on our planet. So maybe let me suppose, and maybe half of them working on the some jobs, and it's about 3 billions. So 3 billions and 300 millions that predict some organization. Now it is not comparable. It is maybe less than 1.0001%. So its digit is small, but it develops, and maybe it takes less than 10 years, and the digit of the amount of unemployment people will be much bigger. But also we have to talking about transformation of some job of labor market. So it's some job it's invent some new jobs, so people just transform their profession, so they not lost in the pure form, but we have to talk about transform some job. So it takes much less time to sum up. It takes less time than 10 years. It's about 1 or 2 years, and our environment, professional environment will change, and it is change every second and every moment. Thank you. Excuse me, I was too long as always, so excuse me.
No, we have an hour to talk. So if you want to talk for an hour, okay, maybe you can't talk for an hour just non-stop. That wouldn't be very fair for Nadia, but don't worry about talking for too long. Take the opportunity that we don't have too many people here today. But I think this idea maybe about transforming jobs, maybe this is important as well, because like you said, Konstantin, you have friends or you know people there who they're working and they were employed specifically to work on AI. So, okay, maybe we might lose some jobs, maybe they'll be done by AI, but we also have to think about all those extra jobs that maybe are being created right now to actually develop it and to maintain it and to test it and to, I don't know, actually, what other jobs could you imagine kind of being invented because of AI? Maybe this is an interesting question to think about. So, what other kind of jobs do you think humans will need to do to maybe related to AI, I guess, that maybe the AI wouldn't be able to do or to maybe manage the AI doing these jobs that we used to do? A manual backup, Nadia?
Yes, I think even if we automated everything, robots or AI, I mean, like softwares and things like that, we need the follow up. I mean, the controlling part where when something happen out of the program, irregular thing, this machine can't predict this because when you have something like, I mean, a robot, everything is inserted. I mean, it has limit at the end. It has a limit instruction. It's limited. Its capacity is limited. It's not like a human. I mean, there is always, I mean, there's a chance that you come up with something new. But for a robot, it will never, I mean, invent something or discover something new because it's already programmed. Everything is written for it. So I believe we will have this follow-up part. I mean, where human has to control and follow up in case of emergency or in case of, well, I mean, we have an issue with our system. I mean, our automated system. And as you said, to make all this automation, it needs a lot of work. So for this automation to be done, I think you need a lot of people to do that.
Yeah, so there's that part that there are some things in actually like building it and creating it and controlling it that still need to be done by humans. You know, they still need to have somebody to actually give them their tasks, to tell them what needs to be done, to ask them to do different things, and also to double check that they are doing it properly, I guess, as well, and that they have all the information they need to be able to do it. I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant about the idea that they're limited, though, because I think the idea of AI, which is maybe a little bit different from robots in general that we would use in, let's say, manufacturing nowadays, is the fact that they can learn. This is the idea of the intelligence part, that they can kind of learn and teach themselves other things. So I'm not 100% convinced that they're so limited. But I agree with the rest. Constantine?
Thank you so much. And I would like to add, maybe have you ever heard or maybe have you ever read the 1984 by George Orwell novel? And it's about some anti-utopia or something like that. So it starts maybe in this similar way, and it's maybe, for example, I imagine the situation then AI is our global employee, and we are all of population is just employer, and it is maybe some supernatural creature that maintain the process on our planet. So why not? Because AI has abilities to process some to operate with some process and simultaneously lots of thousands of process, so it is effective to do something. For example, if we say about some job, then we have maybe not very intellectual job, but also it's a very important job, and so AI can replace humans, and I just would like to ask you to not overestimate of humanity, and we are not perfect. So, and AI also not perfect, but AI in many um, fields more effective than human. Thank you.
That made me laugh, Konstantin, to think about not overestimating humans. We need to know where our limits are sometimes. We're sometimes not as smart as we think we are. Nadia, I know you wanted to go back to the idea of AI being limited a little bit.
Yes, as when we read in the article, where we will need, why in some categories it will be not replaced because of new legislation, for example, or maybe new security measurement, or like now what we have with the emissions and the plastic ban and all these things. Things are changing. So sometimes in the work environment itself, you need to change your procedures. So to do this, a robot can do that by itself. You will need a human who will fix it and change the way it works to adapt to these new procedures. So this is the first point. The second point, we will back to the same discussion with Konstantin when he speaks about the AI. He said maybe it's more perfect. I mean, who made this human who made the AI? I mean, it's at the end human who made this. So it's AI didn't create it itself. So if it's perfect, it's because of a human. Thank you.
It's this idea that AI maybe can only be as smart as we are because we're the ones who kind of gave it all of the information in the first place. So if AI is
Exactly.
perfect, if AI is perfect, it must mean that we're perfect. Or if we're not perfect, it means that AI isn't perfect either. Either way you want to look at it. Maybe this is a good question then. What do you both think? Are people required to maintain and control AI? Is it necessary to have people to maintain and control AI? What do you both think? Konstantin?
As for me, I'm not sure the people is required because I was keen on some technical things, and then I maybe decades ago I joined our group and the talking with Lynn, and we had that. In that time, we have some simple model of AI, and also they was so maybe strange. It's kind of special robots, and you can to download it and install on your PC, and you have to. It's kind of machine learning, and if you talking with your for example, AI assistants, so you learn it to talking and you fill the information into and it looked strange at that times, but nowadays it is more experienced, and it is I see the progress, and also it's relate not only, for example, the text uh, uh, text information, but also about some image and processing a lot of data, and it is developed, and it is developed maybe increasingly, and I just wondering it makes very good progress, this technology, I mean, and nowadays in every moment and every second, as I said to you before, my friends and a lot of people in IT industry worked under the development of AI. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that maybe it's hard for us to say just how far it can go, because obviously we can teach it certain things. Konstantin, did you remember something else?
Yes, it's, excuse me, please, just to answer your question. So now AI almost not to need to support of people. So it developed by itself, and also maybe you know history, you heard about it, or maybe not. I would like to say you it's about some technologies that Facebook, for example, provide on their platform, and the fact you can Google it also. They be the developers was were warned and surprised the robots and AI structures start to communicate with each other, and they do it in independent way without any support. So they develop each other, so without the participation of people and the human brain. So technology is maybe imply not necessary participation of people, and it makes me worry because if we not participate, we have not opportunity to control it, just observe it and maybe research it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think they mentioned this in one of those other articles we read, right? The one that we read about AI and emotions, I think. It had a few examples of cases where, let's say, a computer or AI had been taught to do one thing, but then they realized that it was actually doing things on its own, that it kind of made decisions that didn't seem to make sense, and they only figured it out afterwards. And also about, I think it was two systems that started talking to each other. I'm not sure if that's the one about the Facebook one that you're talking about, Konstantin. I don't remember which company or who the developers were for the one that they said that they developed their own language between them. Which is a little bit scary. I'm not sure that we're ready for AI to create its own language to communicate between themselves. I think it was something like shipping systems, or they were supposed to count things or to like trade between each other or work out prices, something like that. And they realized that they started developing their own language to actually do that. So they were still technically following the task that they were supposed to be doing, but they did it with their own language. Maybe I'll see if I can find that article in the link to find out if is that the same as the Facebook one, Konstantin, or maybe this is a different one actually.
And also, maybe you remember we have a topic. We had a topic about some interview and with AI, and it was also AI some have some independent feelings, and it's maybe about some personification of AI. But it is a little bit different because it's not about humanity, and it is not the behavior which can describe as we describe as a human is absolutely another. So this machine start to communicate with each other in uncontrolled way. So it is maybe can have some negative impact because it is uncontrolled, and it may develop in something we are not expect. Thank you. Yes, lambda. Yes, it's so it's alpha, omega, and lambda is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a last letter in Greek alphabet. So the name of project is also about this interview with lambda, and this is also, some special manipulation, because, for example, if we can say about alpha communication, so it was maybe a little bit harmful, and it was more it sounds more dangerous, and if we talking about lambda, it's something a little bit passive, something submissive, so it's not so dangerous. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember we read about that one as well, when the engineer was convinced that the AI that they were talking to had developed emotions and feelings and was scared about being turned off and things like this. Okay, I want to change direction just a little bit to ask you both about maybe another aspect of this as well that's a little bit more connected to jobs and to work. Because I think a lot of people are maybe worried about losing their jobs because of AI. But what about how it can actually help us do our jobs? Do you think that there's actually a big opportunity maybe for AI to help make our jobs easier, so that we don't necessarily lose our jobs, but maybe we can focus on different things within our jobs, or maybe we can simplify our jobs in some way by using some of these AI tools? What do you think about this aspect of it? Nadia?
Yes, Natasha, what they call these kind of tasks that are repetitive, like maybe copying, scanning, or doing a regular task every day on the computer. It doesn't have to do with any changes. It's just regular, and you feel boring when you're doing it. It has a name, like, I don't know what they call these tasks.
Repetitive tasks.
Repetitive. Okay, because I'm sorry for saying this, but I think in the past I heard something they call, like, it's true they call it donkey work. No, maybe it's not correct. I thought
Yeah,
they
you could
call it
use that
like
as
that.
well.
Okay, so I think in each job we have this side of repetitive tasks that AI will make our job much easier and less boring. So maybe instead of working 8 hours, maybe our lives will be changed and we start working maybe 5 hours a day, because I know some movements ask for that as a human rights. They said maybe we should work 5 hours a day, not 8 hours, to have like a personal life. So maybe it will help in that direction when you reduce the time needed for a job, and also you made less mistakes, so you save your time as well. So we'll have these benefits, because I'm sure that, as they said, a lot of jobs can't be replaced. It will need a human at the end. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe this is the thing. Maybe we need to use this opportunity to completely rethink the way that we're working at the moment, to reduce the amount of time. So instead of trying to find something else that we can do for, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, something like this, maybe we need to think about using AI to reduce our workload so that we can still produce what we would normally produce within, let's say, 8 hours, but we only have to work for 5 hours or 4 hours, something like this. I think this would be fantastic. I don't know if it will ever happen because we have this idea of having to be more productive and more productive and more productive, unfortunately. But I think it would be fantastic if we could use AI to maybe help us rethink the way that we work, and to kind of reduce how much time we actually spend every day on kind of this type of work. Konstantin?
Thank you so much. And I would like to add, maybe you remember it is about past century, and then Henry Ford invent some automating of process. For example, he start to using conveyor and automate the process, and it's make the process is maybe more effective. And now a lot of manufacturing using robots, so it is also about AI. It's not about the simple robot, so they also analyze some data and make some decision on their level. So maybe it's just comparable to industrial revolution, and now we have some information revolution, and we live in very interesting time. So it's maybe about transformation of some process, and it is it's not mean I am not doomed by about the mankind in general. So humanity, for my opinion, will continue to exist and develop but there some process will be automated, and I'm not sure the reason the process will be automated. It is the people have some free time, and they start to keen on painting or music or doing something creative. So I'm not sure, but I think instead of that, a lot of people start to became unemployed, and they face it under the process. They have to transformate their profession and their skills. So it's about flexibility. It's about maybe you should to. I am not sure you have some proverb in your native, but if you want to stay in the same place, you have to run with increasing speed. So nowadays, and I am not sure how it sounds in your language, but we have some proverbs. And it is about constantly moving, constantly development. So maybe it is some challenge for humanity to transformate, to adapt to new circumstances, and maybe to be more flexible, and the challenges of upcoming times just only makes humanity and in general makes more flexible and more developed, and it's about some challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to think of what that idiom is. It sounds kind of familiar, but I can't think of the way that we would.
So to stay in the place, you should to run or something like that. So I am not sure. I heard where I heard it, but it is quite spread.
Yeah. I have a feeling, I have in my head this idea about you'll get eaten if you stand still, which is pretty strong actually. But and kind of related to that, the idea if you don't keep moving, you're kind of, that's the end of you. You're over. But I just looked up that phrase, and apparently it's not an idiom, so I don't know where I got that from either.
And excuse me, please. Excuse me, please, Natasha, and I would like to add, it is the misconception, is widespread misconception.
Excellent. That's great.
We shouldn't run. We should
Exactly.
all we
We're
should
probably
is
less
only
likely to
enjoy
get
that.
eaten if we stay still.
Yes.
So it's a bad idiom as well. It's teaching us the wrong thing to do if we're, facing a lion. Um, but yeah, I think this example that you gave about, the beginning of automation and things like this kind of gives us an idea of what's probably going to happen as well. So when we had these improvements in machinery and automation in the Industrial Revolution, it just kind of meant that we could do more in less time, but we didn't actually work less. And unfortunately, I think this might be the same with AI. We can get more done in less time, but it doesn't mean that we're going to work less. I would like it to be different. I'm hoping that it's different, but I think the chances are maybe a little bit small. However, maybe that leads on to another good question. What do you think that we can do to make sure that if AI does start to take over jobs, that we're kind of safe or that we have other opportunities? Is there anything you think that people should be maybe focusing on right now to kind of thank you, Constantine. You found it. Is there anything you think that we should be doing right now to try to make sure that we don't kind of get replaced in a way? Nadia?
Yes, I think for the new generation, they have to choose the right career that has a future. I mean, there's things that are clear that will be will be specialized in that area. So maybe we'll have like new specializations in universities that has more future for a human. I mean, better future for a human. So I think the first step is to change our change our mind regarding the our studies, where we want to be. Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe not just even new professions, but looking at old professions in a different way, working out what part of those the current professions that we have are still maybe important or need to be done by a person, have something about them that's important for an actual human to be doing and not someone else. Okay, can you think of any other things that maybe we can do? What about for people who, let's say, aren't so new like us? What can we do? Might be okay. I'm not going to say that because I think it's never too late actually to go back to university, to study something, to learn something new. So maybe that's what we need to do. We need to change our careers. Do you think it's necessary to change our careers though, or just find a way that we can maybe do our career that AI couldn't? Nadia?
Just I remember an example, because for people like in the exploration and production, oil and gas exploration and production industry, now in the biggest company, drillers and engineers in that area start to change their career towards the renewable energies. So, I mean, there will no be more exploration maybe in the next 20 years because of the emissions reduction. So for these people also, not because of AI, it's because of their job nature that cause the GHG emissions. They start to change their career towards the renewable energy, and they need to take some courses. And I heard some, I don't know, some some sayings that it wasn't really difficult for them to change or to start to change to work on the renewable energies. So maybe it's the same for the AI. We start for us who already have jobs, and we start to see how we adapt maybe and choose things that really close to our jobs now that can be work with the AI.
Yeah, this is the idea, maybe using the current skills, because that's the thing. Somebody who's been in the work world for a while, yes, okay, you probably work in a specific industry and you've got specific skills for that specific industry. But there are probably a lot of other skills that you have as well, and a lot of knowledge that can be applied to other areas and different tasks and different industries. So maybe part of it as well is about being creative and thinking, okay, I'm good at doing these types of things. So where else can I do these types of things? How else can I actually use those skills in different ways? So maybe that's part of it as well, being a little bit creative with how we see our work experience and thinking about where else it could be applied. Nadia?
Yes, and in order to automate things or to make the AI works for us, programmers, I mean, people who specialize in this, they will need the I mean the background of the original, I mean, humans who work in this to make their algorithm and to make their system. So they will need the human to put that I mean AI in business. So they will need all the experience of a human to program all this.
Yeah, so if nothing else, the AI will need humans to train it before it can take over our job. We don't know how long that could take. Maybe it's only a day of training that they need, but maybe they still need a human trainer before they can.
Yeah. Another trick comes to my mind just as a joke. You know, sometimes in the work environment, when you have like a new employee or you have two employees and someone must to hand over the job and they start to delay or refuse because they don't want anyone else to take over their jobs. So maybe we can do that with the robots and the workers. We don't deliver our jobs. We keep it for ourselves.
We'll have people now stopping to write down what they do in their job so that nobody can take it over. It's the idea that they'll keep it a secret what they do in their job every day so that they can't do it. Yeah, Constantine, this is the issue there, right? We've got this idea of machine learning. So it is good at teaching itself how to do things as well. I mean, if you have a look at the AI that plays these kinds of games like chess, for example, you know, AI is much better than chess than humans are nowadays. And they can teach themselves in like a few hours and then beat like every human alive, basically. So there is machine learning, and it happens pretty fast as well, really fast. Constantine?
Thank you so much. And I would like to add the final. So maybe we have to take in account we face it with some transformation of labor market, and it is a fact. We have to just approve this fact, and we stay at the we just at the start of some transformation, and our life, and also as I said before, labor market will transformate, so we should be ready for it, and maybe some profession will change, but maybe changes some some area of responsibility and maybe some changes some tasks and repeated tasks will remain in past, and now it will be for AI, but more creative tasks will be for us as a professional or something like that. So we have to prepare ourselves to this transformation. Thank you.
Exactly. Maybe we have to work a little bit more on how creative we are, or on that kind of side of our skills, rather than just like the processing and the task completion kind of skills. Maybe that's another really important part, or a really important thing we can do right now to actually make sure that we are still important and necessary in our kind of industries. Okay, well, let's stop here for today. Thank you both very much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was interesting. I'll put a link here for the post, so if you want to leave any other thoughts or comments, or actually have a look at some of the ones that are there. I think there's a few different people who have commented on it. I think Nina and Alexa commented on it as well, and Paulette. So maybe have a look at those as well, and leave some comments if you want. You were really talkative. It was fantastic. Okay, talk to you both soon. Bye.